Alrighty then. Except that's not recording. Yes, it is.
I realized what let us move on to cabbages meant when no one explained it to me.
Okay. When I say let us move on, cabbages. Let us move on. Cabbages. They're a similar vegetable. You thought I was calling you cabbages? Alright. Okay. Mark your own. There were actually two, Nick. Way to be sensitive. There were actually two. Way to be sensitive. Don't worry about it. Okay. If you don't have an answer, what should you do? Write it down. If you don't have an answer because you were lazy, that's one thing. If you don't have the answer I have, but you did a bunch of work, what should you do? Ask about it. Okay? Okay. Every blank is worth 1 mark, even though some of them required a lot of work. Everything's worth 1. Okay? Okay. I'm going to write out the right answers. Now you can see I don't have them there. I'm going on memory. So if you have something close to what I have, you probably have it right. Oakley dokley? Okay, here we go. This one is 71,500 centiliters. This one is 0.001, and then a bunch more decimals. You had to go, normally I don't go till 3 decimals, but you had to go till 3 decimals till you got to a number, if you did it right. Ounces. This one is something like 3.6 or 3.8. I know normally I say no decimals with miles, but I did tell you when you were working on this yesterday, you can go ahead and leave the decimals. This was 6.49 yards, or some of you might have gone 6 yards, 1 foot, 6 inches, because it's pretty close to 6.5 yards. Yes? This one was something like 2,431. Something like that. I don't remember exactly what it is, but it has to be around 2,000. This one was a gigantic number. It's something like 992,500. It's a giant number. This one is something like 36 feet 1 inch. 32 feet, is it? Okay, guys. I'll say it slower. I am going on memory. I haven't done the math. Okay? So if it was 32 feet, 32 times 12 is probably more likely that. This is something like 6,100. And this is 6. Yes. 6. Not 66. 6 pounds, 13 ounces. Does anybody need to ask about any of them? If you do, I am expecting it to be number 1, number 2, or number 6. Even though I explained it quite thoroughly before you started this. Is everyone okay? Remember, these are not the exact answers. I don't have the exact answer for 5 because I haven't done the work. That's just, I think, what it was close to. And I'm pretty sure that one's right. Yes, Tasha.
How do you get the answer to
Number
number 2?
2, okay. For number 2, on your sheet, you had 1 ounce equals 28.35 grams. That was on your sheet, right? But you don't have grams, you have milligrams. So how many decimal places to get from milli to regular grams? 3, right? Millimeter, centimeter, meter. Millimeter, centimeter, decimeter, meter. 3 steps, right? So this decimal, which should be right there, had to move 3 spaces. 1, 2, 3. So 413 milligrams is 0.413 grams. You cool? That's just a metric conversion that you already knew how to do. Then I wanted ounces, so I had to put, and I had grams, right? So I had to put 1 ounce over 28.35, and then since it's on the bottom, it was division. So it was 0.413 divided by 28.35 to get that crazy little number. Cool? Okay. I have another answer. Then I have 2 more answers.
How do you get it 6? Is it
It's the exact same thing. So you know how to transfer ounces to grams. So you would have gone 35 ounces and you wanted grams, right? So it's 28.35 over 1, right? So it was 35 times 28.35, which gets you 992.5. But you wanted milligrams, so you needed to go 3 more steps. 1, 2, 3. And zeros go in the holes. Okay?
So you just move the decimal over?
In metric. Once you're into the metric, the decimal is just all that moves.
Okay.
Cool?
And then how do you use number 9? Like, I just don't know how to do.
Yep.
I don't know if I did the math wrong, but
I
I get like a decimal.
I got you. You have 109 ounces, and you wanted pounds, right? So there's 16 ounces in a pound, right? So it's 109. (109) divided by 16, right? So that goes in 6 times, and that covers 96 of your ounces. But you had 109 ounces. So there was a 6 pounds with a 13-ounce remainder. Okay? Just like fractions. Cool? Okay. Everybody good with the first 9? Give yourself a mark out of 9. These 2, the right answer here is 4 and 11/16. But because the photocopying was so bad, I will accept anything between 4 and 5/8 up to 4 and 3/4. Anywhere between those 2. Yes, Brianna. It has to be written like that because it's imperial, and imperial is in fractions. If you have the 4.11/16 is 0.7375, then I would give you a half mark. This one over here is 9 and 5/8, but I, of course, will accept anywhere... 8, thank you. 8 and 5/8, but I will accept anywhere between 8 and 9/16 up to 8 and 11/16. I will accept anything in there for 2 marks. And finally, the paint on this room. The answer is 10.5 liters. I will accept 11 because some of you will round up and say you had to buy the paint by the liter. That's cool. I'm okay with that. All right. Hey, Mason, you're typing all this into your phone? Okay, just making sure. Because you wouldn't dream of having your phone out where I could see it in class time if you weren't typing down exactly what I was saying, would you? Because then, of course, I'd have to take it away. Okay, just making sure. If you're worried about how to do that, of course, you know you are painting only the walls, yes? The walls are 3 by 3, and there's 2 of them. The other walls are 3 by 4, and then there's 2 of them. And then you had to multiply all of that times 3, because you were doing 3 coats, like it says, and then that whole answer had to divide by what? Divide by 12. And that got you 10.5. Jack.
I did that in my calculator and came up with 7.5.
Well, 3 times 3 is 9, times 2 is 18. 3 times 4 is 12, times 2 is 24. 24 and 18 is 42. 42 times 3 is 126. 126 divided by 12 is 10.5. So I don't know what you did to your calculator. I'm sorry, what? Well, then you would give yourself a half a mark. Making that page out of, ironically enough, 12. Okay, I know these numbers. I think this is 660. And this is 1,000. I'm sorry, what? No, those are exact. Those are the right answers. So you need 660 and you need 1,000. Now here is where I stop and I say, does anybody need either one of them explained to them? Which one? Okay. Okay. Well, we'll start with surface area. Now, I was talking to some guys at lunch, and they were like, Mr. Myers, I don't know how to do surface area. I don't get it. And I said to them, what if this was grade 3, and I gave you a worksheet that had pretend that's a perfect rectangle, 3 rectangles on it. Could you tell me the area of those 3? Sure. 2, 4, 2, 3, 2, 2. What's the area of this one? 8. What's the area of this one? What's the area of this one? So what's the area of all 3? 18. What is the area of all 3 times 2? 36. So now you have all just told me the surface area of 2 by 4 3. You just told me the area of that. So, if you look on your formula sheet, is there a shape like that? No. There is no shape like that on your formula sheet. So if you don't have a shape like that, what do you need to do? Add up the pieces. What shape is that? Great. What's the area of a rectangle? Length times width. What's the length and width of that rectangle? 6 times 20 times how many? 2, because there's 2 sides to the roof, right? What's this one? A rectangle. What's its area? 4 times 20 times 2. Okay. What's this one? 8 and 4. And how many of them are there? What about the bottom? 8 times 20. How many of them are there? 1. And then all that's left is this triangle, yes? Okay, so that triangle, since that's 90 degrees, that's 6 and that's 6, right? Isn't that the base? Isn't that the height? Isn't a triangle base times height divided by 2? And how many of them are there? 2. What do you do with the 2's? Cancel. So it's base times height is what? So I had to add 6 times 6. And then I just add it up. Now, I will ask you again. 6 times 20 times 2 is 240. 4 times 20 times 2 is 160. 8 times 4 times 2 is 64. 8 times 20 is 160. 6 times 6 is 36. Add it up. Now, one sec, Brianna, just let me finish my thought, and then I'll be right with you. Was the math hard? It's length times width. When did we learn length times width? Years ago. And then you added it up. When did we learn addition? Kindergarten. Everybody understand? The math is not hard, but you have to be willing to do the work. Brianna. Yeah, but then the height, what's the height? No, the height is not 6. You would have to do Pythagoras to get it. Okay. The reason, Sam, if any of you actually did Pythagoras, go ahead and give yourself full marks. If you used 8 and did Pythagoras with 6 and 4, I'll give you full marks anyway. And then volume, each blank is worth 1 mark. Yes, Tasha? Okay. What's the volume of every single prism? Volume equals area of base times the height. Yes? Aiden, what's the base of every single prism? The foundation. What do you mean by that? Sam, help a brother out. What? The repeated shape. Does that shape repeat? Yeah, because it's right at the back there, isn't it? So if I know that area, isn't that the area of the base? And then it repeats 20 times, so isn't that the height? So the area of the base we knew was 8 by 4, which is 32. And then if you did this with base and height, you got it to be 18. So it was 50 times 20. If you use Pythagoras, then you did 8, 36 minus 16, 8 root 20. The root of 20 is 4.5, which is 32.5. If you use Pythagoras, you have something like 64. No, I lie. Sorry. You have something like 32 times 20 for volume. You have one of those two answers for volume. Any questions? All right. So that's worth 2. This one is surface area is 460. Volume is 432, I believe. Or are they reversed? That's it? Yeah. Does anybody need to talk about either of those? Which one? Okay. So how did you do it? 9 by 4 by, where do you get the 2? Oh, I see. So you did this by 2. Okay. And then? 8 by 9, right? By 2. Okay. Then you did 9 by 2 by 2. And what's this? 8 by 2 by 2. Uh-huh.
No, I didn't do. I did 8 by 2, not by 2, because like, and then add extra surface area.
Okay, so you remembered there's an overlap there.
Yeah.
But you didn't take away 2 overlaps. Because both shapes lose that overlap. Okay? The way I would do this question, and I showed you this quite a few times, is I make it one big one. Do all that, and then, how big was this green part that is gone? 9 by 2, right? Which is 18, and it's gone back here too, isn't it? So I lost 18 twice. So if I do the whole thing minus 36, I get the answer. Does everybody understand? The problem with what you guys are doing, breaking it up and adding it all up, is if you don't color it in, you lose track. You add too many things. So if you're going to do that, I highly recommend bringing some pencil crayons or something to keep it straight. Everybody understand? Okay, and volume, of course, what's the volume of every single prism? Area of the base times height. So if you know this area, because that shape repeats at the back, what would you multiply it by? Times 8, because that's how far it goes back. Right? Everybody understand? Okay. That's worth 2. Cylinder, super easy. It was 200 pi or 628 blah, 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 blah. For 1 mark. Did anybody get the gummy bear question? Who has an answer for me? Anybody? Sam? No. It's okay. How could the water rise 3,000 centimeters? But the question says, how far will the water go up? What? Oh! Dummy head. Yeah, my fault. That should have been erased, right? You're not all getting 10 gummy bears. Obviously, this was a volume question. Asks how far the water went up. Remind me to fix that for next year. Yunji, do you have an answer? No. Anybody else? 1.74? 1.79. Nice job, Carlos. I know his friend told him that. Of course his friend told him that. I was in this class watching you guys work on that yesterday. Carlos, not bad. What did you do? I Googled it, Mr. Myers. It is 1.79.
Wait, what if I can tell you how the answer works?
Chloe. Pardon me? Go over 30? Yeah, it's just the formula. Surface area of a cylinder. 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. 2 pi times 5 squared plus 2 pi times 5 times 15. 50 pi plus 150 pi is 200 pi. And then 200 times pi is 628. Sam, how did you get the answer? What did you do? Sure.
I didn't care about water because it's still the surface area of 2 shapes, so it's kind of 2 shapes.
But how did you do the surface area of the triangular prism? Because you don't have the measurements for that. You have the base area. Okay, so the triangle, the base area was 20, but the height was 18. How did you do? You had no idea what the measurements were, right? I'll come back to that later. It's not worth anything. It was worth gummy bears. Surface area of the cone is, I can't remember. I think it's 7,776 pi. No? All right, we'll just do the question. It had a radius of 18 and a slant of 30. So surface area of a cone is pi r squared plus pi r slant. Pi times radius is 18 squared. Plus pi times 18 times 30. 18 squared is 324 pi, plus 18 times 30 is 540 pi. 540 pi. Oh, so it was 864 pi, which when you convert that is around 2,500 something. Something close to that. Yes, you did, Nick. And then surface area and volume of a sphere. These are gigantic numbers. Whatever you did. They are, the surface area is something like 3,000 and something. Oh yeah, it's the bigger one, right? It's like 98 blah, blah, blah pi, right? It's like 98,000 pi. And this one is, better do it. Surface area, 4 pi r squared. 4 pi times 28 squared. 28 squared is around 700. Where's my calculator? 784 times 4. Yeah, I was right. 3,136 pi, or 9,852. And the other one was 4 pi 28 cubed divided by 3. 4. Uh, 91,952, or
I just realized I could do that. Yeah, that's what I got.
29,000 something pi for 2 marks, making the whole thing out of 20. If you forgot to divide by 3, you get a half mark. It is out of 20. Now listen to me and listen to me closely. I'm going to wait a moment till everybody is quiet. Unless you are Mason or Mason, you were all here yesterday. I know you weren't, but you actually did what you were supposed to. Mason got a free pass. You could have had a free pass, but you wisely decided to score some extra points with the teacher. Well played. You all have a score out of 20. I wrote on my list about how much you did. So if you did about 80% of the questions, which is 18 of the questions, if you had 2 blanks, then the most you could get is 18 out of 20. Do you understand what I'm saying? So don't, when you give me your mark, don't try to tell me you got 20 out of 20 when half your page was blank. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, here is when you tell me what you got. Tomorrow I'm going to put a test in front of you. That test, I'm still talking, that test will have a blank spot that says name it will have a blank spot that says review score. What do you write in the name section? Your name. What do you write in the review score section? This score out of 20. That way, you don't have to say it out loud if you aren't happy with what you did. Got it? Jake?
What was the Sabbath again?
1. Everything's out of 1 because this entire thing was filling in formulas. There was almost no concepts involved. The only time there was a concept involved was the gummy bear question, which I didn't charge you for. Everybody good?
Yeah.
All right. Have a stretch. Feel good about yourselves because we're about to move on. No, not more review for your test. Have a stretch. Take a moment. Talk amongst yourselves. Yep. Yeah. Class resumes in 2 minutes. Class resumes in a minute and a half. Class resumes in a minute.
Yay.
Man, you're a genius.
I guess so.
Just for fun, here's the math that it takes to do that question.
Oh yeah, my friend showed me like crazy. Oh damn! No, he did a lot more.
It's late.
That looks simplified. Late, yeah.
The late does so much more work than's actually necessary sometimes.
1.79.
All right. Okay. Geek check. What font is that?
A font. Oh, it's a Star Wars.
Star Wars. Geek check. Why is it written that way? Yoda.
Is that common?
The theorem Pythagorean, must you know.
It's Star Trek font.
No, it's Star Wars.
We're trying to be funny. I'm a Star Wars.
I don't think anyone watched Star Wars.
It's a good movie. You should watch it.
Okay. First of all, Star Wars earned $1 billion at the box office. A few people watch Star Wars.
Yes.
Which one?
The last one.
Were you one?
Fine. Prove my point better for me, Riley. Thank you.
But what about Star
Yeah, but a lot of those people saw it twice so they could see all the secret little things in it. I didn't. I saw it once. Huh? Yes, you're missing out. Okay. What? No, I don't go to Star Wars movies on the first night because everybody at them is dressed up in costume and or drunk and loud and annoying, and you can't actually watch the movie because super nerds are having lightsaber fights in the aisle. So I waited a couple of days and went and saw it in my regular clothes and enjoyed the movie. Now that being said, when I was at university and they showed the original trilogy, not the stupid Phantom Menace, the real trilogy, they showed all 3 movies in one night for one price. You had to get there at 6 o'clock and you had to stay till like midnight. When I went to that, I dressed up and had a kick-ass lightsaber fight.
Who were you dressed as?
Somebody had to be Darth.
Oh, so you weren't Mace Windu?
No, because Mace Windu was not involved in the original trilogy. Although Mace Windu does have my favorite color lightsaber, which I found out Samuel L. Jackson chose that just so he could always find himself in the battle scenes because he's the only purple lightsaber. Samuel L. Jackson. I've had enough of your mother beeping problems with mother beeping lightsabers on this mother beeping Star Destroyer. Everyone get it? Because the snake's on a plane?
Oh.
Thanks, James.
He's got some sort of like inappropriate phrase written up in lightsaber.
Yes, he does. It's probably bad mother beeper. Because that's what's written on his wallet in Pulp Fiction, which is the greatest scene in any movie ever. You give me back my wallet, I won't shoot you. Which one's your wallet? The one that says bad mother beeper. And she reaches into the bag and pulls it out and holds it in front of the camera, and it actually says bad mother beeper. Which made me want to get that wallet, but I'm not a bad mother beeper. I'm just a math teacher. Yeah, right? It's the one that says Mr. Myers. Right? I don't think the robber would have given it back to me.
Cool.
Yeah. Kewl. Cool. All right. Math time. All right. I spend time with Pythagoras because all of you, Matt, immediately will tell me what's Pythagoras. And all 30 of you will say, a squared plus b squared equals z squared, mean your Myers. And you're absolutely right, it is. Except when I change those letters. Yeah. And then everybody's like, I can't do Pythagoras anymore. Which, Brianna, you're laughing because nobody would really say that, would they? But Brianna, 17 years of math teaching. If I had a nickel for every time a kid said, I can't do that, Mr. Myers, because I changed the letters, I could quit this job. So, I am taking a moment to remind you, where does the hypotenuse live? Across. We always say across from the right angle. We are not going to use the word across anymore. We are going to use a new word. No, not diagonal. Opposite.
Directly across.
Down the street. And then to the right.
Directly adjacent.
The other problem kids have with this question is if I rotate the triangle, I don't know where the hypotenuse is, Mr. Myers. I know it's right there because I know that it is opposite the right angle. That's a big problem. The other problem kids have, which one is A and which one is B? Doesn't matter. That's why I call them the legs, because the legs live out on the sides and they don't matter. Oh, that's not supposed to be blue. There. Now, guys, I know you already know how to do this. Okay? I know that if I asked you to find the letter X, some of you would be wise asses and say, it's right there. Yes, every math teacher has seen that joke a million times. Right? Okay, it's an old joke. But the question becomes, how do you find the value that is assigned to X? And all of you could do that because all of you understand Pythagoras, right? What would you do to find X? A squared plus B squared would equal C squared. Now you would put in what you know. What's A? 8. Some of you said it was 15. Does it matter? No. Equals, does it equal C squared? It equals X squared. Then you would do the math. 64 plus 225 equals X squared. 289 equals X squared. And right there, a bunch of you would stop. Because you would forget the last step. You think that if I go 8 steps this way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 15 steps this way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, that I am 289 steps away from there.
Yes.
7 meters, but
Which is, of course,
Wrong.
because really, I'm only 17 steps away from there. Because you square root the answer. But a bunch of you would tell me that was the answer. Then you would square root 289 and you would get 17. Now, next question. What would you do for B? You would do C squared minus A squared would get you B squared, right? And then you would do 12 squared minus 8 squared would get you B squared. And then you would do 144 minus 64 would get you B squared. Then you would get 80 would get you B squared. And then you'd square root and you would get 8.9 for B. Right? Easy peasy. You all learned that in grade 6. If you're from another country, you learned it in grade 2. Everybody with me? Oh, for sure. Other countries don't, they're not soft on math like we are. What we're doing in pre-calculus 11, they did in grade 5 in Brazil. Yeah. Hardest math you've ever done in Canada is grade 5 math in Brazil. No, but once you've done pre-calc 11, pre-calc 12 is easy. 11 is such a giant jump from 10 that it's crazy hard. 11 to 12 isn't as big a jump. Okay, now stop what you're doing and look at this. What if I gave you this? Could you solve that? Sure you could. What's wrong with it? Okay, so solve it. What is the value of B? Go. What's the answer? 25. Excellent. 25.24. Excellent. Why is it a pain? Because what did I do? I labeled the B where the C is supposed to be, but I didn't fool any of you, did I? Right? Okay, here's the next problem. What if I gave you this question? Solve that for me. Good call. Solve that for me. Yeah, of course it's 3, right? What is it? 3. Now here's the problem. Here is the problem. Because I labeled that C, I would catch a bunch of you. You would go A squared B squared equals C squared. You would leave C by itself, and you would go 5 squared plus 4 squared equals C squared. So that's 25 and 16, 41 equals C squared. Then you would square root and get something like 6.5 equals C. Then you would come over here and you would write 6.5. Then you would hand it in to me. Is that possible? No. Why? It's shorter than that. Does everybody see why I'm reviewing Pythagoras? Good. Label doesn't matter. That's why I hate A squared, B squared, C squared. When I was taught Pythagoras, we were taught this. Three, 4, 5. And the teacher gave us one of those boards with all the nails in it. Have you seen those? And he gave us elastic bands called a pegboard. And there were 3 nails. Oop, I didn't do it right. 1, 2, 3, right? Shut up. 1, 2, 3, yeah? And then down here there was 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah? So then teacher got us to make a square here. So I had to go out 3 nails, 1, 2, 3, and down 3 nails, 1, 2, 3. That made a square of 9, right? And then we did this same square here and got a square of 16. And then we made this square here, and we found out that 9 and 16 made 25. And what that taught us was the square of one leg and the square of another leg added together got us the big square. We never talked about a squared, b squared, c squared ever, because as soon as you change the letter, people screw up the formula. Kind of like when we were doing surface area and I turned it on its side, and all of a sudden, where's the base? Right? So, I want you guys now, because you're my favorites, see if you can tell me the value of x. Go. Talk to your neighbor, practice. Stop. So, no, we're not going to repeat the lesson. Look at the next one. Is it doable as it's drawn?
No. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it doable as it's drawn? Can you find that? Okay. Now, if you know that, and it was the same as that, could you do it? Yeah. But is it? No. So you're going to get an answer there, right? Which, of course, is the square root of 500, right? Because 20 squared is 400 and 10 squared is 100. So that's the square root of 500, right? Now, am I allowed then to do Pythagoras on the green triangle? Why? Because you don't know if that's right angled. Is everybody with me? Okay? You cannot just do stuff in math class. Okay? Or science for that matter. You've got to have the data. Aiden.
What happens if you notice it like that for a triangle?
You just draw that there?
Yeah.
Then I would say, good job, still wrong. But I would be like, nice. And what do you think's worth more? The 1 mark or your teacher going, nice. Nice. Except Brooklyn Nine-Nine starts tonight, so it'd be noise, smart.
What if you were from Boston?
Then you'd pack the cat, the bass and god, and eat some clam chowder. Oh, facing Pagoda boy. I don't know what you do if you're from the Newfoundland. Although you'd ask me if I knew my mother and my father.
If you're from the Newfoundland, you're very a real person.
Hey! Okay, next. Turn the page over. We got to talk a little bit about this. First thing, you guys got to learn how to name triangles. His name is not Dave.
No!
Sorry. We name triangles.
Based off the gap.
Does anybody know what we name triangles from? No. That's the type of triangle.
People who made it.
We name triangles from the corner. The corners, the proper word for them are vertices. Okay? So this triangle, I'm going to name him A, B, C. A, B, C. Cool? Okay, now, put a little X in A, put a curve in B, put a dot in C. Everybody cool? Now, put those same symbols in the angles in the big triangle that match. Where does the X go? Top, left, or right? Left. Where's the dot go? Top. Where's the curve go? Right. Now, see if you can make an educated guess. What then is the name of the red triangle? If this guy is ABC, what's the red triangle? F, E, D. Why? Aiden. Because you got to follow the same order as the top. Everybody cool? Okay. Next thing that you need to know about triangles that you may not know. Previous to this year, you would have named this side AC, right? We don't call it that anymore. Sides are labeled with the lowercase letter of their opposite angle. So, this side here is opposite what angle? Big B. So what's its name? Lil B. This side is opposite big A. So what's its name? Lil A. This side is opposite big C. So what's its name? Lil C. Now you guys name the bottom one. What's this guy? It's supposed to be an E, Weisenheimers. Little E. What's this guy? Lil F. What's this guy? Lil D. Everybody cool? All right. Holy crap, we're running out of time. All right, now, if you guys had rulers, I would get you to do something here. We do? Good. Jake, listen to me. Jake, measure side little A. Measure it. Jack, measure side little B. Sam, measure side little C. Go. Centimeters of little A. 4.5. Centimeters for little B. 7.5. Centimeters for little C. 8.9. Now, somebody measure D. Somebody give me D. Little d. Measure the side.
That's 7.5 inches.
E.
5.5 inches.
0.4. Do not measure F. Don't measure F. Now, next thing. What is the length of B divided by the length of E? Well, B is 7.5. What's E? 11.4. What's that answer? 7.5 divided by 11.4. 0.65. That'll do. What is little c divided by d? What is it?
Don't you have your own calculator right there?
0.64 what?
0.640.
Okay. Now, notice these two are very close, right? Now I got teenagers to measure it. What if I had measured it?
It would have been the same.
They would be the same. So, this question here, A over F. A was 4.5. What was F? We never measured it. But what would it equal?
6.6.
Point somewhere around this, right? So how could we solve for f?
Just measure it.
No, without measuring. How can you tell me the length of f?
By the other lengths.
By the other lengths. I've got it right here, right? I know the fraction has to be 0.65. So how do I solve that? Algebra. 4.5 divided by 0.65 will be f. What is that? 4.5 divided by 6.5.
0.69.
No, divided by. 4.5 divided by 0.65. 6.9. Now go measure f. Somebody measure f.
6.9. It's gonna be 6.9.
Yes, that's the point.
Geez, you're on here.
It's an estimate.
So it's 1 millimeter off. Pretty close, right? Why? Because I got a bunch of kids to do the measuring. So it's not exact. Now listen, here's the last thing we have to do before your test tomorrow. Everybody draw this triangle. Put a dot, an X, and a circle, or an arc. And do 8, 4, and 6. Everybody cool? Okay, now, over in this spot, draw this, and do circle, X, dot. Everybody cool? Okay.
Looks like a mountain.
Tell me how long that side is.
It should be.
What do you know about the fractions of triangles? You just learned it. I had A over F, I had B over E, and I had C over D. What did you learn about those three fractions? What did you learn right here about those three? They're the same. So now, use that knowledge to tell me how big that side is.
You just don't have B over C. You just have B over E.
Can you make a fraction here comparing any sides? What fraction can you make? 6 over, where do you see a 2? Pardon me, Jake? No. Aiden. 8 over 4 and 4 over 6. No. Guys, please notice, one triangle was ABC, the other triangle was FED, right? A worked with F because they were in the same spot, right? So if you need a fraction, that's the only number over here you know, right?
4 over 6.
Why did you choose 4 and 6, Sam?
Because those are both X.
They're in the same spot, aren't they? Between the dot and the curve, between the dot and the curve. Does that make a fraction? Great. I want this one. What does that guy match up with? 6. 6 over question mark or question mark over 6? Why is it question mark over 6, Brianna?
Like you had the 4. Sorry,
Do you want to change your answer?
sorry, like the
Question mark should be down there. 6 should be there, right? How do we solve that?
Was
Cross multiply. What's 6 times 6? Divided by 4. 9. So how long is that side? 9. If you understand this math, then you understand trigonometry. Because this is why trigonometry works. That is called proportional reasoning. And it's also why we can build stuff. Because when we build a house, do we build a house, take it apart, and build it again somewhere else?
Yes, it actually happens.
No, we don't.
No, we use balloons and helium to make things fly.
What do you do before you build something?
Planet.
Plan it. Are the plans life-size, Jake? No. Are the blueprints of this building in a warehouse somewhere because they're this big? No, they fit on small paper. Were they still able to build this building from those plans? That's because of this math. Listen, please. Listen, please. Page 51 and 52 are due when? No! Tomorrow is test day. Thursday.